Welcome to The Unfolding. I'm Olivier and I'm really grateful you're choosing to spend some time with me. My intention is to explore topics about connection, meaning, and staying human in this digital age. If what you hear feels nourishing, you're welcome to subscribe, like, or follow. It's a simple way of supporting my work and helping it reach others. Thank you. Ellisiv, is that how I pronounce your name? Ellisiv?
Ellisiv, yeah,
Ellisiv, nice.
that's right.
Yes. Ellisiv, when you meet people, what is something you wish people knew about you?
It's interesting whenever I go to like networking events,
Yeah.
because you do sometimes,
Yeah.
and then you get introduced to new people, and you shake everybody's hand and you say what your name, and then what you do for work, because that's why you're there, you're networking. And then if I start by saying, well, I'm an executive coach and I'm specialized in NLP, you can see people just like their eyes, just like not interested. But then I add, and I'm an ice swimmer and a sauna master and I create content in social media. Then suddenly people's eyes just spark up and just like, really? Tell me more. So it's interesting that something I maybe see as a very small part of what I do is so significant and interesting to other people because it's so different.
Yeah, and very connecting as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So why do you think that's the reaction they have?
I think at the moment, because being a coach isn't, especially in Norway, it's not or a protected title. Like anybody can say they're a coach, and you can be a coach in all sorts of different things, depending on what people want to have help with. And I think it's becoming more and more normal. Maybe just the fact that saying you're a sauna master and an ice swimmer is something different, and then that becomes more interesting. I don't know.
When you go to those events, does it actually help you getting jobs?
Good. That's a good question. It's very personal why I go to those events, is because for me it's something I need to work on in my own development, being able to do the small talk and meeting strange people that I've never met before, and having a natural meet with people and feeling calm within myself in those situations. So for me, it's exposure therapy. So it's completely selfish in order to practice being able to be calm in those types of situations. So I've kind of gone from being really scared to go to networking events, whereas now I can turn up, it's a room full of 100 people I've never met before, and I can turn up solo on my own, and I'm absolutely calm and comfortable. So everything you need to practice on is individual. Like some people feel absolutely comfortable standing talking in front of 500 people, yet they feel uncomfortable having a one-to-one conversation outside of nursery.
True.
Just when they've dropped off their kid, there's like, oh, please nobody talk to me, and then they can go and do like a big lecture at the university afterwards. And I think it doesn't really matter exactly what it is that you need to practice on. I think you can practice, you just need to choose to do it for your own sake. And for me, it was definitely those small talks with people that I didn't know, just having those conversations and asking questions about others is always good. People like to answer questions.
Doing this practice of going to networking events, are there something that you've captured that you think could help me, for example, or that could help people around that?
I think if you start, well, you know a lot about breathing techniques. So whenever I enter a room like that, I try to focus on my own breathing and being present in my own body and finding the calmness within my own breath, instead of focusing so much on what everybody else is doing. Because basically everybody is having their own situation and their own stuff going on. So if you think everybody's looking at you, they're not really. Everybody just focus on finding your own core in a way, and people will notice that when they approach you, because if you are grounded and calm, people will want to approach you.
Yes, that's why while you were saying that, I was actually focusing on my breathing.
Yes.
Because I can see a little bit of like the nervousness of doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe, yeah, good, yeah. Nice reminder.
Yeah. It's like, let's just take a few breaths and be here and be present in what we're doing right now.
Which is your whole motto, right?
Yes.
Life is now, be happy.
Yes.
Was there a specific journey you had with that name?
With the name, yes. My Instagram account has had that name ever since Instagram came to Norway. So it's always had that name, and it started just as a private account where I would share, private little moments. But the Life is Now Be Happy has a very deep meaning for me, and it comes from when I lost my firstborn child, and I had to go through the grief around that. He was stillborn, 4 days overdue date. So, and it was, nothing was wrong. It was something that unfortunately just happens, luckily very rarely. But for me, it was a big change in my life, and it was a very conscious decision I made then that I wanted to live. And I had to learn to live all over again because, everything fell apart for me. And the Life is Now and being in the present moment became a very, very big part of my everyday survival method, really. Because I couldn't see till hours ahead. I could only be in the present because I was so full of grief. And being so conscious about just being in the very moment I was in, I was then able to baby steps build my life again. So from, lying on the floor one moment, just crying, till the next moment, maybe the sun came in through the window and it made a pattern on the floor. And I could look at that and I could see the beauty in that specific little moment, even though I was also full of grief. And it was like a superpower to be able to have those little tiny sparkles of glimmer in between all the sadness. So that just, I just decided that, yes, I'm gonna continue doing that. So that's like very personal where the Life is Now Be Happy name comes from.
I've lost my parents and one of my sisters. I can only imagine what it might have been, the process of grieving, and the fact that you're here now. It's really a testimonial for strength and resilience. I'm touched with what you shared. Yeah.
I think anyone who has experienced grief is it's all about love, isn't it? And how if there was no love, there would also not be so much pain. It's just like I had all this love and I just had nowhere to place it. You know, it was just empty.
I'm wondering how much it is present for you in your everyday life.
I think like the grief of losing Oliver, it's not his name, is I mean that's something that's just intertwined in my everyday life, but I don't what can I say? I've learned to live with that, as I think you just do. You choose to live, and it's very much a part of me. And it was quite beautiful because I met somebody not long ago who has also lost a child, and I was telling her the story about Oliver, and it's 20 years ago, so it's been some years, and she was so relieved when I told my story, because she had felt that she was almost ashamed that her own grief was still taking so much room in her life. And yet it was not so many years ago it had happened for her. So to hear me still talk about it 20 years later, it gave her, I don't know, hope that, oh, so it's okay to still carry this with me in such a large portion. I was like, yeah, of course you can. It's yours. You have that. It's yours, you know. And you just carry that the way that you need to carry that. And that's different from every person. And that's okay. It doesn't have to look the same for everybody, nor should it. It's your own. Like, I've lost a sister, you've lost a sister, and I'm sure there's probably lots of similarities for how we feel around that, but also I'm sure there's lots of differences. And there is no rule book or guidebook on how to do that, and you just have to find your own way. And I think and that's absolutely okay.
Yeah. How was it for you 20 years ago? Did you find that the times around these kind of topics have changed a lot? Was it was it lonely at the time? How was that process for you?
Wow, that's a very good question. and maybe this is going to sound terrible. In my family, we have a lot of experience with grief. If I can say it that way. So my family around me, I have a large family, and there was a lot of understanding and compassion, and I had lots of time. There was nobody rushing me. There was nobody giving any demands on, you need to do this or manage that. And I think also living in Norway at the time, the being able to be off sick and have some time off work. And another thing also that was really lucky for me was that my boss at the time, his wife was a midwife. So I think he probably had a lot of useful advice on how to deal with me as an employee having lost a child in stillbirth, you know. And I really appreciated that. So I think I was quite lucky with lucky in the unlucky fact that we have lots of experience with grief in the family, if you know what I mean.
At the time you were working, I know that you've worked for IKEA.
I have worked for IKEA, yes. But this is many years ago, and I worked for a call center. So I was the head of the call center. So I had staff, and somebody had to cover me while I was away. Um, but that kind of wasn't a problem because I had planned to be away because I was going to be on maternity leave.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had already trained that person that was going to, cover me while I was gone. So it was like I was gone for different reasons, but my absence was planned,
Yeah.
if you can say, yeah.
Yeah. So there was another lock in the bad luck kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've done quite um, a few different jobs in your life,
Yes.
from working in different big companies like IKEA in a call center. I imagine some other things.
Yes, I the last few years before I changed and became self-employed, I also worked as a digital advisor. So that meant I worked for a company that bought smaller companies, and then I would go in and sort of evaluate the IT, how the IT systems would work up against the financial systems, and then I would retrain them into the systems that we wanted them to use. So it's like onboarding, if you know, yeah.
What brought you there?
It's like I had about 20 years of management working in the corporates. And then in the last few years, I had, as in the corporate world, I had a lot of migraine. And I was really struggling with being able to go to work because some months I had 27 days of migraine. And it's not so easy to, you want to just stay in bed, basically. And I was trying all the different sorts of medications that I could get hold of, the neurologists. I did Botox. I have my whole ears pierced with different acupuncture piercings. Like I really, really tried everything. And I was still having lots of migraines. So in the end, I just like something has to change. So I stopped my job, and then I decided to study, go back to school and study. And I ended up studying NLP. And then part of the NLP process is you start by doing an inner journey. Because how can you walk other people through something you haven't been willing to do yourself? So that's like the thought.
There are people that might not know what NLP is, so it stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a coaching technique that it's about rewiring your brain in a way, and through that process, I discovered quite a few things about myself that was just automatic programs living in my subconscious that I was unaware of.
I'm curious if you'd be up to naming some of them.
I'm so like I have no shame. I'll share. But what happened was that I then suddenly experienced that in my subconscious foundation for how my automatic thoughts are just being processed, I'm going to say had, because I had some fundamental beliefs. And I think that the biggest pivotal moment was then I discovered that I thought I was not valuable. And just experiencing that is such a turning point in my life. Like I can put a finger in the calendar and say, this is the day I stopped believing that I wasn't valuable. And it's like, I almost cry when I say it because it's so strong, and it really, really changed so many things in my life that was just built on top of that foundation. Like imagine being over 40 years old and then finding out that, holy crap, I, for my whole life, have thought that I wasn't valuable. Like I'd had an amazing career. I have two amazing girls that are, healthy and super cool. They're 17 and 18 years old now. Uh, you know, Everything was just like superb from the outside. And yet, inside, I'd had this belief that I didn't really have value. So then, looking back at decisions that I had previously made, that I had kind of like, when things happen, you sort of think, why am I actually doing this? And what's the reason why I'm not able to say that this isn't okay? Or, sort of questioning my own ability to stand up for myself in the past. And then realizing that, well, that makes sense. Of course I couldn't stand up for myself in that situation because I didn't think that I was important enough to do that. I didn't think that I deserved to be treated better than how I was treated. Like, I didn't object to this situation because I thought I didn't deserve any better. So all of these things backwards, like dominoes, just like, yeah, okay, well, that's why that happened.
Like a really kind of underlying core belief that drove
Yes.
so much of what you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that day, I decided that I'm going to change that because I am valuable. And then I started having so much more self-love, having better self-dialogue with myself. I stopped yelling at myself all the time for all the stuff I couldn't figure out or not do. Like, stop. Why are you talking to yourself that way? So I changed my self-dialogue. I changed some of the people around me. Like, you can't change people around you, but you can change the people around you. I love that saying. And I did that. I made some changes. And I really started believing that I was allowed to have boundaries. And I was allowed to stand up for myself, and that I was valuable, and that I also was important, not just everybody else. And funnily enough, I hardly have migraines anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah, the neurologist never suggested that.
It's incredible how much those underlying beliefs that would make you do things, when you looked at them, just that had such a big impact on your actual health,
Yes.
and how it's something that's completely overlooked by a lot of modern medicine.
Absolutely. And I think, and this is what I work with when I work with my clients. We always start with identifying your inner sort of navigation system, because you have these pillars that are if you look at a control panel and you have like all 6 different buttons, and so these are the different steering systems that you have available, and it's like one of them is your values. I mean, lots of people go through their life and they've never even thought about, but what are my core values? What does that even mean? What does that look like for me? How do I have to behave in order to receive or protect my values? And what happens if I don't? And I meet people that are, 60 years that have never had a conversation about values. And I think maybe younger people growing up now are more aware of these things, and it's all connected to mental health awareness also. So values is one thing, and then another thing is like what you believe in, like my belief that I wasn't valuable. That's one of your steering mechanisms. And then it's your rules, the rules of the society, but also the rules you make for yourself. Like, it could be tiny things, like, no, I can't have coffee yet because I haven't had water. I have to drink water before I have coffee. Like, that's a small rule, but it still navigates how you act. And then obviously there's lots of bigger rules than that, but it's just like an example. And then it's your experiences, because it gives you filtering layers. Feelings, of course, and then your self-dialogue. So these are your navigation systems, and they work like, I normally put my head to the side, and then I say, you receive information in like this, and then it goes through your filtering system, which is layered with all of these elements, your values, your beliefs, and your self-talk, etc. So when you receive your information, you filter it through all of these experiences, emotions, all of that is personal to you. And after it's gone through the filter, you then are left with, what's the English word? I lost the word there. You're left with how you receive it. So after it's gone through the filter, it's like how you have received it. And then you want to give something back, say something back, but what you also say back goes through the same filter. So you maybe think you're saying one thing that makes sense in your filter, but then I give it to you and you receive it, and your filter is completely different to mine. So what you receive isn't necessarily what I think I've sent. And this is all about communication, and it happens everywhere around you all the time.
So you went through that process yourself. You had these huge migraines.
Mm-hmm.
Went for training, became more aware of this,
Mm-hmm.
of your values, how much you value yourself, your inner dialogue, and the filters that were happening within you, both from what you were receiving to what you were sharing. And from that place, you decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do now.
Mm-hmm. It was just like, wow, everybody needs to learn this. And it's like, it will change people's lives. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. And, you have in a day, what is it, like 60,000 thoughts or something? That's happening in your head, and only about 10% of those are conscious thoughts.
Wow.
The rest is just happening in your subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And your subconscious is driven automatically by these filter systems. Just like...
How do you know the difference between the filters and what's actually you?
It's a mix. Because some of the things that you believe in it can become from generations. You've just been taught to believe in these things. And I think once something then becomes just stored in your subconscious, in order to change it, you have to unwrap it to become aware of your beliefs. Like have some self-awareness, and then only when you are willing to take that inner journey and unwrap, okay, what are my belief systems, what is it I believe, and these automatic systems that we have, they're a good thing. It'd be quite tiresome if we were to, how do I pick up this glass of water? It's very good, and that I can do that automatically without using lots of brain power to do it. But to be able to change it, you have to be willing. Then you can unwrap your beliefs and your navigation systems, and you can lay them out there, dare to be vulnerable. And then you can look at them and you can say, oh, I believe that. That's really good. I'm keeping that one. That's been good for my life. I'm keeping that one. And then maybe you find like, that's a good one. Okay, we're staying with that. And then you maybe find one, hey, this one's not so useful. I think I maybe want to change that. And then you can dig further into that belief and find out, okay, what is it doing to your life? How's it impacting your life? And what would you like to have instead? And why would you like that instead? And what will that give you if you had that instead? And then you can start rehearsing that. And it's like new habits. You rehearse it several times and then you can change your neurological pathway into a new belief.
What comes to me is a lot of the time, the things that I'm doing that I don't necessarily like, they come with like a certain amount of pain. And if I just try to stop it or just let go of it without honoring why I got there, it seems the process is never fully done. So when you do that process of, okay, I don't need that in my life, does it come with some kind of, I don't know, an acknowledgement or a caring for that?
I think that's a really good question. And I was sort of just reflecting on how that was for me with the value belief that I had. Like I had I had two very different paths to take from that. I could have said, it's because I believe I don't have value. It was my parents that taught me that. And I know exactly when it happened. And I know throughout my childhood how that was emphasized and kept being repeated into me. And so like I've seen backwards. I know exactly why that belief got so rooted in me. And I was over 40 before I discovered it. So I could have chosen to look back and then say, yeah, that happened to me. It was installed in me. It's not even my fault. And that's why I'm making all these bad choices. And that's just the way it's going to be. Or I could choose to, not keeping that. I want to change it. And then looking back and seeing, acknowledging, watching those past incidents, what has happened, being dissociated from the events itself and looking at it from a different perspective, looking at it not as a 4-year-old little girl, but looking at it as an adult from the outside and understanding more of the situation around it, and then having maybe even empathy for the people that did that, and also understanding that I don't actually think they did that to be mean to me. I don't think they meant to install that in me. And then just being grateful that I did discover it. I think also that is different for everybody because it's a combination of all these layers and past experiences and everything, and it's like I'm looking back and looking at situations that I've been in, where I haven't been able to set boundaries for myself because of this belief in the past, and then instead of putting the guilt on those people that have trespassed my boundaries, and blaming other people, I then now look at it so much different into, wow, how could they have known that they were trespassing my boundary when I wasn't even able to voice it?
I like the fact that you bring this back, that there's not just one way of doing things, one way of processing things, that there's just such a multitude way of experiencing it. I think a lot of the time if I scroll on social media or read some books, a lot of them have this like, oh, this is the problem and this is how you do it, and this is the ABCD
Yeah.
solution. And for some people it might work, but for some people it might really not work, and they're gonna feel like a failure because that hasn't worked for them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is it's really much more about finding what is your unique way of navigating this.
Yes. I really think so. Yeah.
Yeah. You work mostly with people as you coach them more on the professional side of things. Is that it?
It's I work generally with high achievers. I think often when you're a coach, you like to work with people that you sort of identify yourself a little bit with. And for me, I always want to do more. I always want to become better. I want to grow. So I think it's natural that I also attract clients like that. And it's people that want just more. You know, sometimes you have this feeling like, I'm doing everything right, everything's kind of just superb, I've done the right things, I've hit my goals, I've hit my targets, but yet there's something that doesn't just feel quite right. Like, surely there must be something more. Like, what's next? And I think it's that little void. Like, where do I go from here? And I think people in their middle of their life often get to that, because when you're young, you have so many plans and aspirations, and you just go for it, and you travel, and you get a family maybe, or you move, you take educations, you have career paths. But then once you get to the middle, you're sort of like, oh yeah, I've done all those things now. What do I do now? It's like, is this it? And then you've been so busy just chasing all these things that you had goals for, and then you sort of forget maybe, but who am I? What was it I wanted to do? Who am I in the middle of all of this setup that I have created? What gives me joy? Because you're just running on autopilot, trying to fix everything, you know, all the time. And then it's like, well, what fuels my soul?
So you're
And
almost a guide to help high achiever find meaning and purpose again.
yes,
Yeah.
let me just note that. Yes, yeah.
I've been loving your Instagram so much. I don't know how I fell onto it. I think maybe it was a suggestion or something like that. And I remember seeing you, and I think the first post I saw of you was, I think you were naked but hidden with like a towel or something like that, and then with like the frozen sea, or it's the sea, right? It's
It's the sea, yeah, yeah.
the sea.
It's like a
And
little fjord that comes in where I live, yeah.
yes, and I remember like, this is fabulous. I love it. I want to do that too.
Brilliant.
And then I followed you directly, and I was like, I want to see more of that. And then I even got inspired with your little dock thermometer, and I got one for myself as well.
Oh, that's nice.
I saw some of like my joy with this in what you do, and I was like, oh, this is a kind of spirit. This is like, that's
The
my
spirit
tribe.
connection, yes.
And but then I kept on following it. I was really also enjoying you putting little songs and with the lyrics and very kind of motivational, or also sometimes about, grieving, embracing emotion or life, things like that. It's been so enjoyable for me to see that. And so my question is, like, how did you get into the whole cold water thing? Well, what's your story with that?
Well, because I live in Norway and grew up in Norway, it was it's interesting because when I get comments from outside the world, people ask, "Oh wow, how do you do wild swimming?" And it's just like, we're so spoiled, and it's like, yeah, well, we kind of just call it swimming because everywhere is wild, you know. So I've grown up always being near water and swimming, and you know, I was probably 8 days old the first time I went on a boat trip. So the sea and the water has always been important in my life without me being necessarily aware how important it was in my life. And then about, I think 11, 12 years ago, I had a new neighbor that had never lived so close to the sea, because I live, you know, 20 meters from the sea, just have to cross the road. And she said, "Oh, I'd really like to try and swim through the winter." And I just thought, you know, "Would you like to join?" And I thought, yeah, well, I didn't really have a good reason to say no. So I thought, yeah, why not? Yeah, I'll do that with you. Cool, you know. So we started going once a week, and I really enjoyed it. It was like, it was, you know, exhilarating at first, and then it was something like, oh yeah, I can actually do this. And you have all that sort of achievement feeling, and I could really feel the adrenaline, the dopamine, you know, going through the body. And it's like, yeah, I like this. Yeah, I can do this. So it started as like a weekly thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my first initial goal was, because my kids were smaller at the time, and I used to just be one of those moms that were on the shore with, you know, my woolen jumper and my coffee mug, and then I would watch my kids swim because it was too cold, you know. And I wanted to join them to build my resilience, you know. And I did that. Now I'm always nagging them to come swimming. So that was, I think, my initial entrance point. Somebody just asked and I said yes, you know. So I stumbled into it in a way. And then, you know, 5.5 years ago now, was in the midst of my worst period with the migraines when they were really bad. I sort of thinking about finding different ways of pain relief, because all the everything that the neurologist was trying and medication, etc., nothing was really working. So I had this one thing, you know, looking within and working with my mindset, but at the same time I also needed some relief, and I found that the cold water gave me pain relief. And I thought, what if I do it every day? So it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to test that to see if I can, how will it impact my body if I do it every day for a month? So that was the start. Did it every day for a month, and I could feel more, what can I say, my mental health was lighter, like more joy, more aware of, even more aware of being in the present, and it was like a timeout. So it just, well, you know this, but how to explain it to somebody who hasn't tried it is, it's when you enter freezing water, you get stripped of all your masks. There is not room for any layers. It's only you and survival, and you know, you have to breathe. You have to be in that very moment. The only thing, your body goes into absolute shock to, what the fuck is happening, you know? And you have to then breathe and make, make your body understand that you're safe, because you can do it. So you breathe and you get control of the breath, and then you can start to relax in the cold water. And I like to always get the back of my neck in, the brown fat that we have at the back of our necks. Really get, metabolism, everything working, all the good stuff, just like, yes, activate, I'm in here, let's just do all of it. And then just, even in the worst of my migraine days, I'm like, I can barely make it to the pier, because my head is just like, "Ugh." And then I get into the water and I just breathe, and I can feel how it just lifts off. And it's the amount of relief, I can't even explain. And then I smile, and that smile is just so authentic, and from the bottom of my soul is just like, yes, I'm doing this, and it feels so good. And you're just in there and you are alive. And it doesn't matter what's on the news, or it doesn't matter, nothing matters. It's just you and the sea, and your breath, and you're alive, and it's amazing. So after having done that every day for a month, we had such a cold winter that year, and the sea was solid frozen, and we cut out big squares of ice and made these fancy, picturesque swimming ice holes. And I invited people round, I baked buns, and we were ice skating and plunging, and it was just so beautiful. And I thought, I was taking pictures, and I thought, I have to share this. So I started sharing. And that's how because I was swimming every day and I was taking pictures every day, and I thought, I just have to share this. And then I started posting every day on social media. So I removed all the old sort of family pictures of my kids and stuff. Okay, I don't want people, that's private. And then I started sharing, 15 seconds of my swim setting every day. And it just took off. So it was kind of just like a side hustle that just became very big. And I continued. So I swim every day. I've done that every day now for almost 5.5 years.
Wow. How many days is that?
Oh goodness, how many days is that? It's a lot. Lots of days. So every day. And I also create Instagram content almost every day. So it's kind of like an artistic expression. One, I want to share my love for the cold water, but it's also sharing some of the things that I think about in my life. And I've shared lots about my inner journey, and the things that I've learned and struggled with. Like, I'm brutally honest on there a lot of the time. If you read the captions, obviously a lot of people don't read the captions, but yes, it's I don't know, self-therapy / art / bonkers. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying both the visuals and the captions. So some people do read it, just so
Yeah.
So doing all that and then starting to have this traction on social media, there's a few questions that come to me. You are a sauna master now.
Yes.
So what is that about? Because, okay, the cold plunging, I understand that, but then there's also the sauna part.
I'm so glad you asked. It's about a year ago, actually. I had been occasionally visited a sauna, but it wasn't a part of any of my daily routine. I would only cold plunge and then warm up naturally. maybe, have a cup of coffee in front of the fire type of thing. Um, and then I thought I was getting more and more interested in the somatics, like the shock proteins from the cold water, the breathing, and also I was interested in finding more out about the counterpart, so like the contrast, which is what sent me into taking the sauna master education. And I thought, okay, how can I investigate more about this? And then there's this spa in Norway, a very world famous spa. It's a couple of hours from where I live. So I thought, okay, why not go and learn from the best? So I booked into a class there, and I went there just sort of thinking, okay, I'm going to learn a bit about the sauna, maybe a little bit about some oils and, how to wave the towel, etc. That'd be cool. And then I came there and they're telling me like the history and everything about how the heat works, how they work with intentions. And it was almost like it was a missing puzzle piece that just came in, because I'd been this crazy ice bather on one side, and then on the other side, this, corporate executive coach. It's like, there was like, what? And then the sauna and the heat and all the intentions and the depth of that profession just bridged it somehow, and I became a lot more secure in all of those things coming together, because previously in my coaching I hadn't talked so much about this crazy Instagram lady who's always in the frozen sea, because like, how can I be both of those things, because they are quite far apart. And then somehow the heat and all the intention work related that the sauna master brings into the sauna is very similar to what I do in coaching. So if you come to an Aufguss with me, it's not so much it's very intentional. Lots of my guests have emotional release. I bring a lot of energy, a lot of intention, and I use the music and the heat waves. It all just comes together
Inside the sauna.
inside the sauna.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's so beautiful, and yeah, I love doing it, and I think my guests are, my feedback is good as well, and that's always nice.
And we go in the sauna and there's music. I have no idea what it's like.
Yeah, okay, yes. It's when you arrive and you book to come with an Aufguss with me, because I work in small saunas. I don't work in big spas. So it's often saunas on the pier. So I have the sea outside. So I invite everybody to go for a quick dip, and then they come inside in the lounge area. They get a cup of tea, some honey, which is from my sister. She's a beekeeper, so I always bring honey that her bees have made with some extra love. And I set some intentions. I give my intentions, and then obviously people can have their own intentions for why they have chosen to come to the sauna today. I do 3 sets of around 15 minutes with the different scents, different music, and I like to combine the music with the intention. Like, I always choose the music that builds on the intention that's been set. And then we have breaks in between, so we go and swim and then come back and go in the sauna again. So, yeah.
I want to do it now.
Yes, you're gonna have to come and see me.
Yeah, that sounds
I'll
really
come to
good.
England and do a sauna tour.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. I'm curious, what are some of the benefits? Because I know a lot of the benefits about the cold water thing, but what are the actual benefits of sauna and alternating sauna and cold water?
It's like doing cardio. So it's like going to the sauna is kind of like exercising your heart, like going for a run. So I think one of the things I've heard about the cold plunging is the only reason why you shouldn't do it is if you have a heart condition.
Yeah, yeah. I
Whereas
guess it's the same for the sauna then?
I think it's not quite as tough
Yeah.
because you can also go lower in temperature. You don't have to go to the highest temperature as well. And the higher you sit in the sauna, the hotter it is. It's good. And I also find, when you do just the cold plunge, you get that energy up.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
very much peaks.
Yes.
That's why I always do my cold plunges early in the day, because then I have that energy with me during the day. And I very rarely go cold plunging on its own in the evening, because then I will struggle sleeping. But the heat kind of wraps it so well. You get that softness and the calm, and it really relaxing with the heat. And then I use oils and scents, I can mix it. I use different scents in the morning session than I would do in an evening session. So depending on the intention and the time of the day, you choose different, whether you want to bring the energy down or whether you want to bring the energy up.
What's an essential oil for the morning? What's an essential oil for the evening?
Well, I think for the morning, it's very good with rosemary, for example, for the mental clearing
Sorry.
your mental, yeah. And also lemongrass is good because it really sort of energy boosts and it brings you up. And for the evening, I think obviously lavender
Mhm.
gives you a lot of calm. You can, I mean, lavender is for every time. And geranium also. It's lovely
Geranium.
for the
So
evening, yeah.
geranium works for the evening because actually I have a diffuser here and I was thinking like, oh, does geranium work for the evening? I wasn't sure, but yeah, now that you
Yeah,
say,
I think geranium is very good for emotional balance
mm,
and
I
just
think it's my
love.
favorite. I
I
think it's
love geranium. But I use it also in the morning and the evening. It's very very good one. I like that lots.
there's this whole topic around the difference between men and women when it comes to cold water. What do you think about that?
I have seen quite a lot about that in social media as well. It's like women shouldn't do cold water plunging, etc., etc. And um, I think it's a little bit like um, how you deal with everything. You
Mm,
need to do you.
mm,
You need to listen to your body
mm,
when you do things. Like, don't just do it, but be aware of what's happening.
mm,
So when you do a cold plunge, feel what's happening in my body now? Is this something my body wants or not? Like someday, because I have this thing, I do it every day. Uh, that's contrary to all those recommendations that you're talking about. Like, no, you should not do it every day.
mm,
And then yet I do it every day. But every day is different. Some days I'll go down there. It's like brushing my teeth. I have to do it every day. It's just like the day isn't right unless. So I just get up, put my robe on, go down to the pier. Then I have a swim, and then that's how I start my day. Some days I get down there and it's like I get in the water and then I feel, well, not today. And then I get out and then maybe I've just been in 10 seconds.
mm.
And that it isn't the weather that decides that for me. It isn't the water temperature that decides it. It's because I listen to my body.
Yeah.
And I get in and I feel, no, no, not today. And then I get out. Whereas other times, I get in and it's like, oh, yes, I need this today. And then I'm just in it and I just stay. And I don't have a timer on. People ask me, how long are you in the water? I consequently do not answer that because this is not a contest. So important. You need to do you. You need to listen to your body and not overdo it. Like if it starts feeling like, oh, I could be in here forever. You've been in too long. Get out.
I think that's the tragedy of this trend with cold water is the idea that it's a competition, that for a lot of people, they just have the thought that they need to go and stay for a long time. I see people being like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna stay 4 minutes. I'm like, it's not about that. It's really about you feeling alive and following that thing in you that says like, yes, I can stay in there. And then following that, actually, this is enough now. A lot of the time I'll go for a swim. And sometimes I know that day is not a day where I'm going to stay long in the water. Maybe I haven't slept so well. Maybe like you, it's hygiene. I really long for it.
Yeah.
But sometimes just a cold shower will be enough and I'm not going to stay long in it. But when I go to swim with people, I can feel that pressure like, oh, like he's the guy that swims in the ice water, like he's gonna stay a long time. And I see in myself sometimes like, oh, I need to perform, show them what I can do, and so I can keep my status or something like that. And whenever that comes up, I notice that, oh, what are you doing here? I can be loved and have friends even if I don't stay long in the water. Right? That's gonna be okay. And I can make it a point that they don't have to stay long. Just go in and go out. And I was like, yeah. We follow our body. There's no need to push it. So, yeah. Do you find that sharing beautiful content and meaningful content on social media as well has been making you spending more time on screen in a way that would be too much sometimes for you?
I think sometimes, but I'm also very conscious about it. So it's interesting because I create content every day, and people think they know so much about me because they see me every day, but yet they maybe see 15 seconds of my day. So it's like this, but they see my face, every day. So I become very familiar even though I share very, very little. But I have a very sort of clear routine. Like I go and I swim, and then I come back, I have a cup of coffee, and then I sit in front of the fireplace with my cats, and then I immediately create the content. And it's almost like it prolongs the swim for me, because I get to see it several times myself, and I get to sort of have it inside, and I really enjoy creating the content of like, what was I thinking about today? What was I, was I just in it? What's been playing on my mind? And then I try and find some lyrics that relate to that, and I write a little caption. And my goal is to always not spend too much time creating the content. It's because I have one take only. I never do things twice. If it's good, I can use it. If not, whatever, It's I don't go in a second time because I'm not happy with the video. It's that one time. It's that one chance. And then I create something, and I aim to have that done. Not spend too much time with it. Maybe half an hour, and then that's done. And then I might revisit Instagram a few times during the day, but it's not like I try not to spend more time than that creating the content.
So the fact that you have a structure around it helps.
Yes.
With how much time you're spending on it. Yeah.
because I find those days where I have a different appointment or some, life happens, and I don't get to sit down and immediately create the content. I don't enjoy it so much, because then it becomes so distant. It's like, because I also have ADHD, it's like, oh yeah, but I've forgotten about that already. That's ages ago, and then it was just this morning, and I can't even almost be bothered to look at the footage because, that didn't happen, that's not happening today. It's very much a routine I enjoy. So creating the content is part of my routine, in a way.
Do you find that it's helping you with ADHD symptoms to have this routine?
The cold water.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I feel qualified enough to answer that yet, because I started cold swimming long before I knew I had ADHD. So maybe I think the answer is yes. And then again, I haven't tried not doing it. I think definitely it plays a role into my addiction to the dopamine I get from the ice bath. Maybe you should cut that.
I mean, there is definitely an addiction to the dopamine. For me, I have it for sure. But then I think, what was it when I was not doing that? I would just try and get my dopamine in other ways. And so I have the choice in like getting my dopamine from a place that actually also motivates me, like boost my self-esteem, boost my energy levels, boost the beauty that I have access to. Or I can do the other types of dopamine that doesn't meet as many needs. So I'm very happy with that kind of addiction.
Same.
Yeah, because
And
that's
inflammation. You didn't say inflammation. It
ah,
lowers
yes,
inflammation.
yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
very big one for me.
yeah,
And the dopamine, you have other sources of dopamine that gives you a 250% increase, which is, highly illegal, and it peaks on 8 minutes. Whereas ice bath gives you the same rise in dopamine, and it stays for, 4 to 6 hours? And it's free.
and it's free.
It's like, what's the question really? Like, not to do. It's amazing.
It's interesting how we've been really separating ourselves from nature more and more, and also from one another, really. Um, and now there's some kind of a new wave of connection, reconnection to nature, to one another, which is happening at the same time as all the other stuff that's a lot less happy in the world. It's been really helping me staying sane in this world.
Yeah.
Whatever I would see on the news or that would happen, I know that I have this place to just come back to what is actually there instead of into
Yeah.
stories. Um, I imagine that probably resonates for you.
I love that you're saying that as well. And like, to come back to what we were talking about earlier, that, people get to our age and then there's this void. What now? What is this all? There must be some meaning. And like, the answer towards that is often so much closer than we think, because the answer isn't out there. It isn't necessarily like travel or new hobbies or whatever. It's like the answer is within. It's like you have to turn it round and you have to see inside. Where is that void that you're feeling? Is it purpose? What gives purpose for you? What is meaning for you? And how individual that is. And very often, doing these types of things that is related to your body, like the breath work, the cold water, and the sauna, the hot, these are just tools that we can use. And there are many others, like yoga also is very good, like connecting with your body, like body and mind is one, and allowing yourself to put the brakes on and feel, like feel your body. How does my body feel? How am I breathing? And what is it I'm thinking about? Being mindful. That's where you'll find that answer. And it's not 2 + 2 is 4. It's different from every person. But you have to look inside. And then ice baths, sauna, breath work, yoga, those are tools that can, help you there. If you find something that works for you, there's lots of different ways to find out.
Is it part of like a program you have where you do a mix of corporate coaching / ice bath / sauna?
It's something I can do as like a team working, team building events and things like that. But I haven't yet made a program where that's part of it. Still, it's a little bit separate. But I do suggest, and lots of people know that I practice this myself, and I can explain to them, how to practice it. And if there's somebody living close to me, I can also invite them to join if they find it scary. You shouldn't go on your own if you've never been in cold water before. You should always be with someone. And people find it safe to go with someone who's experienced. I've never been with someone who hasn't managed to go into the water when you guide them, because you create that, psychological safety between you, and you just ensure that they will be okay, and they get in, and then, how they feel afterwards. You can just see the burst of energy. It's so beautiful, and such an amazing reminder also to myself that, hey, you do this every day.
Yes.
And not to take it for granted, but to appreciate it every day.
Yeah, sounds like you're very connected to the gratitude
Yes.
that comes with this practice.
And this, if you're on social media, you get that, you should just write a gratitude journey. That will make you happier. Write down 3 things you're happy about, 3 things you're grateful for every day. And then lots of people think, oh, yeah, like that's gonna help. But are you willing to try? Like, are you willing to sit down, spend 5 minutes every day to write down 3 things you're grateful for? Because there are lots of studies saying that it works.
One thing that I do is every evening with my partner, we name gratitude to each other. So if we're together, we'll just say we do 1 each, and usually we do a total of maybe 10.
Yeah.
And then if we're not together, we'll send a text to each other with our gratitude for the day. And for me it's helpful, because just doing it on my own, I did it at one point, but it was hard to keep on. But just being 2 of them and doing it every night as a practice also for connection, because sometimes we're not in the same place, so it helps us knowing what we've been up to, and also doing a little gratitude practice. That's been very wonderful, and meeting so many needs all at once. Yeah.
I think that is so such a beautiful thing to do, and to do that together as well. And what it creates is you become mindful of the positive things that has happened during your day. You focus on what did that do for me? Why am I grateful for that? How does that impact my life? And it's like with anything, the more you focus on, the more you get from that. So if you always focus on the negative things, you will notice more negative things. If you focus on the good things, you notice more and more good things. It's like the red car theory, you know? It's like, how many red cars did you see? Well, none. And then the next day you'll see them everywhere because you're looking for them. And those are the glimmers and those gratitude things. They're all around us if we're willing to see and take notice. And, you know, gratitude and love, like in the emotional spiral and the energy as well, it's the frequency is the highest. And, you know, I can feel it just through this video call.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the energy, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it attracts more positive things to your life.
Yes, I think tonight this call will be part of the gratitude. I guess you're also a polymath like me, so doing many things. What's the exciting future for you?
It's working with new clients. Yeah, I really I continue with my Instagram, which is obviously fun and creative, and then I'm still doing lots of sauna things. I've been, you know, doing the sauna mastering now for almost a year, and I just learn all the time. Still a very steep learning curve. So the next there, I think, is diving even further into the world of the scents, like all the different herbs. And we have this beautiful organic herb garden not far from where I live, where I went in the autumn just before everything was getting cold, you know, frost. I went and collected lots of herbs, and in my spare room, it's like when I have guests now, they say it's like sleeping in a tea bag, because everywhere in the whole room is just lots of herbs hanging up for drying. And I use these to make teas and scents for the sauna. And I'm really looking forward to the spring now. I'm going to plant lots in my own garden and experiment more and more with that. And definitely working with more clients. It's sitting front row and somebody just having epiphany moments about, you know, their own systems, and then understanding. It's so rewarding, and I'm just so grateful for that, to be able to do that.
If people want to work with you, does it have to be only corporate people, or if there's other people that would be interested in learning from you, do they have to be a certain type of people, or you
No, not at all. I work with, there's lots of high achievers that don't work in the corporate world. Absolutely. That this is nothing about what type of education you have or what type of job you have. Not at all. It's I work with people that want more.
Okay. So if people want more, they can contact you via Instagram or via...
Yes, they can use my Instagram. It's maybe the easiest, because I also have a business Instagram, but that's all in Norwegian. So
Okay.
maybe the easiest through that one. I should be better at put some links out and stuff as well.
Yeah, I will put the link of your Instagram
Yeah.
in the description. Same for the sauna masters that you do. If people want to come and join, do you do
Yes.
little retreats as well?
I will be doing more and more of that as well. I was just talking to a friend yesterday, planning to do a sauna tour in the Lake District in the autumn. So that will happen.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So bring a bit of my Viking blood over, and shake some birch and some cool Viking music and good intentions and release and healing in the sauna
Love
and
it.
the cold water. I'm very grateful that you contacted me and invited me to have this chat.
I was pretty confident that I was really going to enjoy the conversation, but I also had no idea. right? Because you never know how things are going to be like. But I'm just really, really happy we had this time together. I hope I will have more time in the future to talk to you. Ellisiv, thank you so much, and speak to you very, very soon. I'm so grateful for all you're putting out there and for your presence here today.
Thank you.